Greetings, pen pals. I've not done a pen from India in quite a while, so here we have one. This is the Camlin Model 36. This is a fairly inexpensive, some would say student grade pen from India. Very, very light pen, predominantly plastic, weighs in at 15 grams only. Size-wise, it's a fairly conventionally sized pen, just a little bit smaller, say, than a Lamy Safari or Pilot Metropolitan, as you can see here. Somewhat thin pen, again, normal, conventional, sort of student grade pen. It's got a couple of nice features. One, it is an eyedropper filled pen, so it does hold, even for a small pen, a pretty good amount of ink. The other thing, as we'll see a bit later on, it does feature a ebonite feed, which is actually quite nice. Very unassuming pen, plastic body. End cap is on the distal end has a little bit of knurling. The cap itself is fairly ordinary. Has Camlin 36 sort of somewhat crudely stamped along the bottom here. It says on the clip, it says Kokunu Camlin. I don't know why it says that on the clip, but it's a pretty nice functional springy clip. I do kind of like this cap on the end of the clip that sort of adopts the shape of the clip here. Pretty nice, somewhat stylish on the end. It is a screw-down cap, takes 1.5 turns, and it does have a liner that is quite effective, a plastic liner in the end of the inside the cap. And of course, it does post and posts quite nicely. Fairly comfortable section, all plastic that matches the rest of the pen. Again, no big scientific revelation here in terms of filling. You just simply unscrew the section and then just dump ink in with an eyedropper. That's really all there is to it. Fairly small nib, steel nib, gold tone color. It says Camlin tipped and then fine on the nib. And again, like I said, a nice feature is it does have a nice ebonite feed, which is nice to see. And that is literally about it for this pen feature-wise. Like I said, the section is just sort of ordinary. The threads here don't pose much of an issue. No kind of lip or anything like that. The section just kind of rolls right off the end, etc. But that is really all there is to it. Nice, sort of typical student grade Indian made pen that you find a lot of these type of pens around. I've done reviews on other similar ones to this in the past. And there you go. But of course, pens are meant to write, and I know you do want to see this pen write, so I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, folks, like we said, this is a Camlin number 36, and this has a steel nib in extra fine, and this writes well. It's got good flow. It's smooth now, and the reason I say now is I did smooth this out a little bit. I spent about 2 minutes tops smoothing it out with an emery board, so I didn't do a lot. It was a little bit toothy, I would say. I wouldn't exactly say scratchy, so I just figured I'd give that a shot. But it's about average wetness. It flows well, writes well. I like it. Again, not a lot to say about this. It is an eyedropper, which is nice to see. So you can fill it with a lot of ink. It will hold a lot of ink, and it does have the ebonite feed, which has that going for it. And again, it got a nice nib. I think it looks pretty good, feels good in the hand. Basic student grade Indian made pen. We've seen a lot of pens like this on this channel over the years. And this is another nice one to go along with some of those others that we have seen. And again, like I said, not a lot to say about this. Fairly basic, but it does get the job done and writes well. So that is a Camlin Model 36. That's about all I have to say about this pen. Not a lot to say. Simple, uncomplicated, writes well. But let's talk about this ink now for a minute, shall we? All right. So let's talk about this ink for a second. So this is Noodlers Gruene Cactus. So I'm of two minds on this ink. So I have a big plus and a big minus. The big plus is it's a very pretty ink, writes well, flows nicely, etc. So it's a really nice, vivid green. So here's the color card on this ink. It's just a very, very vivid green that really, really kind of pops, that I really, really like the way it looks. The downside of this ink is that, best that I could tell, let's compare it to a couple other inks. So here is it compared to Mont Blanc Irish Green, and here is it compared to Iroshizuku Shin Roiku, and here it is compared to Diamine November Rain, as you can see, it's a sort of a vivid green. So here it is compared to Pelican Dark Green. You can see Pelican Dark Green looks positively black compared to this one, because this is a much more vivid kind of green. So it's a really nice color. I really like it. The downside is, this is one of these inks, and there's another ink from Noodlers, Golden Brown, which is very similar complaint against this. This ink really doesn't dry very well and does smear quite a bit. It's on a fine point like this, a nib, which is what you want to use with this, because if you really had a really wet, fat pen, it would really smear quite badly. So this ink doesn't have the best drawing characteristics, but it is a great color, and I really like it for that reason. So Noodlers Gruene Cactus, really, really nice ink, and I just really like the color quite a bit, but keep in mind, not the best in terms of dry time. That's what it looks like on this Rhodia paper. Let's take a quick look at what it looks like on Tomoe River paper, shall we? All right, this ink is Noodlers Gruene Cactus. It's a pretty ink. It's a really nice ink. You know what else would be nice? If you folks would all please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you could do those things, it would be very much appreciated by yours truly. But I think we've come to the end of this video for this week. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching it, because I sure enjoyed making it. And until we see each other again, have a great day. Bye-bye.